What is up to all our educator friends out there? This is your friends Kyle Howard and Cory Camp. Before we start off, make sure y'all click that like button and subscribe to our Sit Me channel, and make sure you look forward to some other What's Up Wednesday episodes as well. But Cory, what's going on? How you doing today?
I'm good. It's obviously fall. You can see we've got our spiders behind me, and October's in full swing. We've had one birthday already in the camp household last week. We've got our second one this week. My oldest turns 12. Lord help me, y'all, preteens. I love him to death. He is an amazing kid, but the hormones are suddenly there. Like he snaps in just a second. So that's been fun to deal with. May my coffee be stronger than my 12-year-old. That's going to be my prayer every morning. So, yeah, you just had a birthday.
Yes.
Speaking of birthdays.
Yes. Well, shout out to all the Libras out there, all the October, September birthdays as well.
Virgo here.
Yes. I did recently have a birthday, but it's funny that you mentioned the preteen, because I was just going to say, we all been there, right?
We all have. I know. I was telling him, I said, buddy, I know where you are right now, because I said, I think your dad was worse than me. But I said, we're just going to help you through this season. And we just ask that we're here to help you stay respectful and calm. And so anyway, but yeah, we also finished our football season. Our 5th and 6th grade team did an amazing job, made it to playoffs, didn't make it past the first round. And I'm kind of thankful. I mean, I'm excited to have my weekends back. So, but yeah, other than that, I know we've got some folks at conferences this week. I know you've been at some conferences it's conference season, right? We're in October, so.
Yes, it is conference season's coming up. So the whole majority of the Sit Me team will be at Texas ASCD down in Austin, October 24th to the 26th. So if you're in Austin for ASCD, make sure y'all stop by, say hello to us at the Sit Me booth. Also, I will be from there immediately going up to Oklahoma City to the Oklahoma Society for Technology and Educational Conference. Through 27th through the 28th. So I literally am leaving Austin, going directly up to Oklahoma City. So if y'all in Oklahoma City, please stop by the Sit Me booth and say what's up and say hello to me. And we can definitely talk and learn a little bit more about your campus and your district. So we are getting ready to hit the road, definitely.
I know y'all are all back on the road. I'm kind of okay just to stay right here and do the virtual things. I'm not ready to be out and about just yet. I think I'm maybe not alone in all of that, but I do miss the good conferences and networking and the tea between every session. That was always really nice. Hot tea and snacks.
Definitely.
So this month, it's October. We are focusing this month on use cases of self-reflection. And, usually when we talk about self-reflection, and most of the folks who seek out Sit Me are looking to use the platform for some kind of coaching and feedback, maybe even peer collaboration, teacher reflection, of course, being at the heart of that. But the thing I'm so excited for today is we've got she's been a guest on our show before to talk a little bit about her experience in the instructional leadership and coaching cohorts. And today we have back with us Principal Yesenia Gonzalez, who's going to share a little bit about reflection for herself. So we're not just talking about self-reflection as a professional learning strategy or mode for our teachers, but also for our leaders. So welcome to the show, Yesenia.
Hi, how's everybody today?
Good. Feeling exhausted today. I know, just like everyone else. Again, I think we're inching closer to that Thanksgiving break, that winter break. It's parent-teacher conference season right now as well. So Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Getting ready for that.
That's right. So, Yesenia, I'd love for us just to talk a little bit about reflection that you've engaged in kind of throughout your career, right? When you were in the classroom, up to, as you've been a leader over the past several years, what has reflection looked like for you over the course of your career? Has it played a big role for you?
Yes, it has. I can recall as a teacher when our administrator would walk in and leave us some feedback. Of course, back then the feedback was maybe just like you did this or you didn't do this. Not as, I guess, maybe intentional as it is now, I believe. But I do recall, going back and looking at the feedback and thinking, okay, what can I do to change my lesson so that I can make it better? And then I also recall having a mentor my first year in teaching that also helped. She would come into the classroom and again, provide that feedback and see where I would take it from there, attend some professional development sessions, and then, of course, come back and try to implement it in the classroom. Of course, during those specific times, right, was when I really more self-reflected than maybe I should have as a teacher, right? Because, back then there wasn't the video or there wasn't any other thing other than face-to-face, right? Like somebody coming in and observing you, letting you know how you were doing. And then, of course, maybe offering some suggestions and then going back and implementing it in the classroom. So as a teacher, I do recall, going through that process in self-reflecting and trying to get better so that we could see that student success.
Yeah. What you describe, I think, is just a common strategy towards reflection or experience with reflection for many educators, myself included, especially before I began using video in my classroom, which wasn't initially for reflection. I really only reflected in those moments where something or someone prompted that reflection. Either a lesson went better than I thought, and I'm like, what happened there? How can I make that happen more? Or it bombed, and I'm thinking, okay, this, maybe I had like a couple of lessons that aren't going that well, and I've got to sit down and really figure out how to adjust instead of just adjusting on the fly. Or, when those walkthroughs happen, or when I worked with my mentor, and that's really the experience for many educators is we are always reflecting, but we tend to reflect primarily in the moment and make adjustments. We're responsive in our teaching. We don't often step back and look at the big picture, look at the systematic changes that are possible that might really impact our teaching. We kind of fall into a routine in our instruction. That's because it's complex and busy and all the things that kind of get in the way of reflection. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And even looking at test scores, right? And I think right now when you mentioned that, looking at the test scores and seeing, okay, did my kids do well or did they just bomb this test? I think that's another time that I would go back and see, well, how did I teach it? Did I teach it only one way? Or did I teach it how it was going to be tested? Maybe just looking at the questions also. Or did I do it a different way where the kids maybe have, knew the concept, but the way the question was asked, they hadn't seen that before. So also reflecting after test scores, I think, was another time that I did it maybe without being prompted, just knowing that the kids maybe did terrible on a test and was like, okay, let's go back and see, what did I do or what didn't I do to make these students learn that material?
And you also point out something else that I find common with as educators in reflection is it's usually a negative point that we spend most of our time reflecting on are, the things that seem to be problems or hurdles for us. And we don't often reflect on the things that are going really well. And I know we've talked a lot about that in our cohorts as well, celebrating excellence, being a witness to the good. Kyle, I want to see if you have anything to add in there.
Yeah, and I want to point out, and especially when you're talking about growth at any level, the first starting point really is self-reflection, and in that, really, we're hard on ourselves as already, like you mentioned, Cory, but then also having that either another collaborator or administrator point out some of those positive things where we can really build off that as well. But I want to go ahead and jump into the second question, and Cory, I know you mentioned that Yesenia actually had participated in our instructional leadership cohort, but how has reflection, changed with video?
So yes, it has changed. I think some of the points have been where I get to see myself and see, okay, did I, and of course, that's me using the video, right? As myself recording. What do my features look like? Have I given the teacher too many suggestions? Did I do all the talking? Did I get to let the teacher talk and give her her own suggestions, right, as to what she's going to do to improve it, maybe her lesson, or she did really, really great. And did I get to tell her? Because I think that's something like Cory just mentioned that sometimes I feel like I fail to do, right? Is that positive? And I think that that's one of my key things that I need to work on this year also, in reflecting even right now, right? Like, is going back and being more positive, because there's lots of great things, but not focusing just on the negative, but also all the positive things that are happening in the classroom. So in recording, I have noticed those things, that maybe I'm not beginning with the positive, or maybe my facial features are not the same, or, not letting the teacher talk and give her time to reflect herself, and then just go from there, and maybe asking her questions based on what she's saying, instead of me doing all the talking.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I love that you mentioned one of the things you reflect on is kind of your facial features, because that's also something I reflect on, is like body language, and what is my face saying? Is my resting face like a good, kind, listening face, or am I like thinking about things and my eyebrows are moving and maybe saying things that I'm not trying to say at all during that time? Teacher talk versus student talk is something we reflect on in the classroom. You're reflecting on, your principal talk versus teacher talk. And I think that's powerful, because our feedback should be a learning opportunity, right? And for learning to happen, we need praise, and we need time to process and reflect and guide those things, those learning moments kind of to the surface. So I love that. I think that's really awesome. So tell me then, how are you using video to record? It sounds like it's those conversations, those feedback conversations you're having with teachers. Are there other ways, other things you're recording to reflect on?
Yes, PLC meetings, and then of course just staff meetings. And so I like to record and go back and see them, because am I doing all the talking during the PLC meeting?
Mm-hmm.
And am I letting the teachers talk, reflect, question, just giving them that opportunity to also really think about what happened in their classroom maybe the week before. What are they thinking their next steps are going to be? Or am I again taking over and just talking the whole time? And then even answering sometime myself, or answering, before they even finish talking, am I answering their questions? Am I interrupting? So it's really been beneficial, because I get to go back and see who's doing the talking, who's doing the answering of the questions. Because just like with students, sometimes, the teachers answer their own questions before students get to answer their questions. So am I doing the same thing? And am I expecting our teachers to do that? Or, to just help, with the question, or help the students answer the questions and not answering themselves. So lots of reflection on meetings as well.
I think that's another pivot point when you're looking at those PLC meetings and you're having those teacher-led conversations as well. Like, you have the power to actually reflect on that, like you mentioned, in my verbal, my nonverbal cues, am I speaking too much? But the power then those teachers can then have a true conversation within an actual community, not so much of a leader, a dictatorship, I guess you can say, within the meeting, right? But then that's where you really see that collaborative piece, and you can also see that growth with those individuals. So I think that's a very powerful piece. And Cory, do you want to elaborate on anything else?
Yeah, no, I think I just like you said, Kyle, I think that's really powerful. Often we prioritize, at least verbally, we say the importance of collaboration and teacher learning communities, but oftentimes those gatherings turn into housekeeping, or, even some venting sessions, because it's been a rough week for our teachers and they're all kind of commiserating together. And so I think reflecting on the learning that's happening as you facilitate those meetings is really powerful for your teachers. And I think it helps you stay truer to those priorities than, well, we had this many meetings this week, or we meet monthly or weekly as a PLC. Is it really a PLC, or is it, a principal led or, facilitator led meeting? So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting.
I don't know if we have any other question. I want to ask maybe from the hip question here, but
yeah,
where have you seen that the power as an administrator of your own self-reflection process, how that works, and how the kind of the culture that's established, or the trickle down, culture, how have you seen that work within your district?
So I have seen that reflective, piece being very powerful in our district. I think that our superintendent this year has really, and of course, all our administrative team have really been supportive, and also, I guess, pushing us, right, to make sure that we are setting up that reflective piece with ourselves, and then again with our staff, right, that it carries over, because if we're asking them to reflect on their practice, that we're also doing the same thing, so that they can see that it's important and that we also have to do it, and of course help and model it for them, so that it's not just, okay, teacher, you're the one, in the classroom, and you're the one reflecting and seeing how you're doing, but also how we are as leaders reflecting and making sure that we improve our craft so that the teacher can improve hers. So I think it's something that our district is really, really focusing on, because they want us to, again, be an A district and so I think that being that the goal of becoming an A district is going to come back to self-reflecting on our leadership, and then of course with our teachers as well.
And just how, the students can feel the change of a teacher. Just like how you can see the growth of a teacher, or they can see the change that you're making as a leader too as well. And it's like we're all in this together. And so we definitely can make that strive into those goals that you're able to reach. But like I said, the first step is self-reflection with anything, and you have that to grow in that process. So I think that's a great point that you brought up now.
And when we're recording, I do let the teachers know I'm going to be recording this session, of course, at the beginning of the meeting, so that I can come back and look at the video and study and see how I'm doing as I lead this meeting, or as I'm teaching you something new. So they know that it's happening, right? Like they know that we're also doing that self-reflection. And that way it's not like a secret or, anything, like I'm just, I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't want them to know. I think it's important that they know, so that they can see it happening, and so that they know that there's a purpose for it. And sometimes I will come back and share with the teacher, like, oh my goodness, I noticed that I was the one talking and I never let you speak, and I'm so sorry. So, was there anything that you needed to say that maybe we didn't get to on that day? So even going back and letting the teacher know that I saw the video and how I reflected, I think also is really important for them to see it happening, and that it is actually happening.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? And oftentimes, the first kind of metric within the platform that folks look for is, well, we want people to be reflecting, and their video is going to be the way we're going to have them reflect. So we're going to look at the number of videos recorded, and we're like, well, there's also this other metric of how many minutes are viewed across videos. That's really that's more of the follow through part. It's not just recording. Sometimes that's hard enough to remember to hit record, or, but it's even harder to sit down and make the time, and then to truly reflect on that, to annotate on those videos or artifacts, so that way you've kind of got a running log of your thoughts as you are viewing, and can then create an action plan from that. Go back to a teacher to say, I noticed this. And I think that's really powerful. The research shows for teachers and students that teachers who reflect, especially those who reflect with video, and this is largely because that reflection has a visible point, because the camera is rolling in the classroom, or they've talked about it, or they say, I noticed yesterday in the lesson, everybody got really excited when we did this, so we're going to do more of that. Seems like it worked really well. Those teachers who reflect in that level in a more visible fashion, like what you're doing with your teachers, then their students are more likely to reflect. So I think it's a natural, viable assumption to say that you reflecting in a visible manner like that then might help your teachers better reflect. So let's talk a little bit about your teachers. What about reflection with your teachers? Are you adding video with them as well on your campus? If so, how's that going? What's the impact of that?
So yes, and we did start last year, right, during COVID, when the teachers were doing a lot of, I guess, just teaching through the Google Classroom and and Zoom. So they were recording those lessons. And then I did ask them to watch themselves for like 5 minutes just to kind of see how it went for them. Of course, those we didn't upload. We did upload a few of the teachers, right, onto the video library so that they could share with other teachers as well when we saw some really good lessons. But they did reflect, and they did come back, and we made it a point to talk about it in a meeting. Like, how did it go? What did you see? And so a lot of teachers also mentioned about their facials, right? And their voices, and how they were just like, oh my God, I can't believe that I sounded like that, or I made that face, or, when the kids were asking questions, I answered all the questions instead of giving them, some time. And so it was really powerful for them to see themselves in action also. And of course, they said, well, we were, shy at the beginning. Like, we didn't even want to see our video. We were like, do we see it? Or I guess maybe, nerves, and then afraid to see, like, what did I look like? What did I sound like? And so, but them just, doing it, looking at it, reflecting, and then coming back and saying, okay, this is what I saw, and this is what I want to work on. And so, of course, they would work on it over time. And then again, we would come back and, okay, how did it go this next time? Did you follow up? Did you, follow through with what you said? And so some said, yes, like, oh, I did change. Or some would say, oh, I'm still working on it. It hasn't been easy, but I'm still working on it. I'm still, trying to provide that. I'm counting in my head 3 seconds to let the students answer. And so I saw that it was really, turning them around too, as they recorded themselves, and I see that it helped them even more after they did the recording to become a little bit more reflective on their teaching and just overall performance. And so this year, as a matter of fact, we let 6 weeks go by because our littles are 3 and some were 2 because school started on August 16th. So some were 2 years old before September 1st. So we said, okay, let's, get our procedures in place. Let's get everything ready. And so we're going to begin to do the recordings again, to share with each other. And of course, for them to see and reflect on their videos. And so important that they get an opportunity to do it at least once or twice so that they can actually see what they look like and sound like, and just reflect on, okay, what do I need to change? Or did that lesson go really well? And maybe, like you said earlier, just do it again, or with something else, another skill, right? But it went so well. So again, a lot of positives that we can get from reflection.
There's something you said in there that I really thought was smart, because one of my questions for you was going to be, where do you find the time, especially as a campus administrator, finding the time to sit down and watch those feedback conversations and reflect? That's usually the follow through, kind of where we fall out is in the time. But you mentioned you challenged your teachers just to watch, just 5 minutes. And I think that you don't have to sit and watch an entire lesson. You can be very intentional about, I want to watch the first 5 or the last 5 or 5 minutes of a small group. Or I think there's also just kind of a, pick a moment somewhere in the video and just watch for 5 consecutive minutes. And what do you notice about that? Can also prompt some pretty good reflection. So do you think you'll keep those short, focused kind of parameters around how much time they sit to reflect?
Yes, definitely. Yes, because again, that time is valuable. And of course, even sometimes during like PLC meetings, we'll also share some videos, just 5 minutes. And I would tell the teacher, okay, you're going to record, but just show us 5 minutes, maybe of something that you think went really, really well, so that you can share that. And so also giving them that little time frame so that they can record, but then find the 5 minutes you would like to share, or find those 5 minutes that you want that feedback on, because it is difficult to find that time. But just as difficult as it is, it's also difficult to be in every classroom, right, in a week. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to visit these teachers in person, but these others will send me just a clip of what one lesson that they want some feedback on.
Yeah.
And so it's been really neat because I'm getting even videos sent to my phone, like of them recording something, and so or pictures, right? Because they're so excited and they want to share with me. So I think that started since last year, where they got maybe more comfortable, and so now they're not waiting to share it with me through email. They're just sending it directly to my phone. So I love that because I get to be in their classroom every day somehow with them sharing those videos. So it's really neat to see that, how that has also transformed, and them being more comfortable and being excited about it, and sending, like I mentioned, to my phone, like sending a video to my phone and not waiting for the evening or the afternoon. So I think that's really says a lot about our teachers.
Yeah. And that's the amazing thing about the SIDME app as well, is there's a mobile app, right? So you can view those videos from anywhere safely and securely right there on your phone. Makes that sharing just so much easier.
It does. It really does. And I want to bring up too as well that, you know, teaching is an art, and just how in other professions, how they look at other videos and have the ability to self-reflect, like in a dance studio, there's no dance studios that I know of without any mirrors allowing them to self-reflect on their art, what they're doing. But once they have that period where they're opening up to you and sharing those videos, where they're able to pick out those key moments of that, whether they want to focus on some positive thoughts or maybe some things they need to work on, and just that open realm and the growth of that, I mean, it can be phenomenal for anyone, any role that you have in the district, whether it's a teacher or administrator. It's really, really powerful. So I want you just to throw that in there.
Absolutely. Yesenia, thanks so much for coming on to share a little bit about your reflective practice and how your campus and your district is moving towards more of a culture of reflection. I think that's pretty exciting, pretty powerful work at La Joya ISD, and we're proud to be a part of it. So thanks for partnering with us on that journey.
You're welcome, and thank you all too.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Yesenia. See you later.
Bye.
All right. So awesome. You definitely don't have to be a part of the leadership cohort to begin self-reflecting, especially with SIDME, but it doesn't hurt. We kind of work through some specific practices, some specific things that you can look for, and guide you along that reflection for sure, because it's not as intuitive, not that deep reflection. So we help you with some of the things Yesenia mentioned that are really powerful in reflection, that make it manageable as it is impactful. So Kyle, shout outs. I know you've got some today. So who are you shouting out? What for?
Well, like as I mentioned earlier in the program, we're going to be hitting the road now that conference season is opening back up again. So like I said, we're going to be in Austin at the Texas ASCD here, October 24th to the 26th. And as well as I'll be out in Oklahoma City for the Oklahoma Society for Technology Educational Conference, October 27th through the 28th. So if y'all are in Austin, Oklahoma City throughout that time period, please stop by and say hello at the SIDME booth. Definitely look forward to chatting with you and learning more about your program and hopefully sharing with you some information and with some great resources, and you can meet the crew here at SIDME.
That's right. Yeah. Shout out to our whole partnership team for being on the road and being available and sharing out all of the amazing things our company does. So tune in again next week, y'all, for some more episodes around reflection. We're hoping to have Jeff Ritter back with us at the end of the month to talk about some more exciting updates that are just going to make that reflection and collaboration even more seamless and meaningful. So can't wait. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. All right. See y'all next week. Bye, everyone.